Hi, everybody, and welcome to Sweet Adeline's International Zoom Chats 2020. This afternoon, our guest comes to us with an incredible background in barbershop music. She is a lifetime barbershopper. Her parents were both very accomplished barbershop singers, and she became a Sweet Adeline 35 years ago. While she did that, she was an elementary general music teacher for 23 years, grades K through 6. It must have been amazing to be part of her classroom. She's been in a quartet many times, 6 or 7 times. She's been on the international stage, placing as high as 10th place, which is fabulous. She's been a 33-year member of the Scottsdale Chorus and has 5 international gold medals and has never placed lower than 3rd place with her chorus. Amazing. She's been the baritone section leader for 33 years, so she really knows what she's doing. And she's now the associate director and the internal coach for Scottsdale. And this year, she is serving as the music specialist on the Judge Specialist Committee for Sweet Adelines International, and has also been involved in the task force, which has been designing the song assessment tool for all of us to use. Let's have a huge Sweet Adeline welcome to our Zoom chat today. Jana Gutenson, welcome to Zoom Chats.
Thanks, Renee. What a great privilege it is to visit with you today. I'm excited to talk to everybody and check in about my favorite topic.
Your favorite topic, I know. So how long have you been a music judge? Because I didn't put that on your list.
2005. I have always been drawn to the sound of ringing chords. I didn't join Sweet Adelines until a little bit later in my 20s, but as you said in my intro, I've been surrounded by the sound of barbershop for my whole life. And, when I was a teenager, my stack on my record player would be, like Led Zeppelin. Yeah, record player. Led Zeppelin, Tones, Carpenters, so it's the quality of the sound of the chords, and I've always been drawn to that. I have a piano background and did some music theory, and I was intrigued by the way it's put together.
So you're a chord geek.
Yeah.
Yeah. Say it proudly. Yeah.
But I'm not actually an arranger. I'm what's known as a band-aid arranger.
That
Yeah,
works.
yeah. I haven't done a whole raft of arrangements of my own, but I do like to engage with the people that are doing arrangements for our chorus and help them to work out spots so that it's suited to us.
So today we're going to talk a little bit about helping a quartet or chorus choose music. So music selection is the most difficult thing that we are doing. But how do we find a song that suits us? Can you help us pick a song that's going to work?
Well, I think typically most of us listen to performances to get an idea of what's available out there.
Right.
And that's not a bad thing. You need to have the sound of good barbershop in your head when you're making those choices. And so most of us go to the recordings that are available, and they're usually champion groups.
Right.
So often the pieces that you hear the champions performing have a difficulty level that's a little bit beyond what a beginning level quartet would want to choose for themselves. So it's important to understand what your skill level is. If you've never competed before, you probably are going to want to get some input from a coach, have a listen to the sound of your quartet, and give you an assessment of what your skills are like and things that you need to work on as singers.
So what's the best place to go to find information about then going ahead and choosing a song?
Well, you have the international website from Sweet Adelines, of course, and there's resources there for actually previewing copies of published music, and you have connections to reach out to arrangers. There are some arrangers who will provide you with preview copies, and in some cases there's a financial commitment there to have a look at the music itself. But before you get to that step, you need to have a sense of what you want to project as a group. Like, what's your personality?
Right.
What image, what style do you like? What are the personality characteristics you want to highlight that make your group special and awesome within the barbershop style?
Mm-hmm.
So that gives you a framework for the style and genre maybe of the types of songs that you want to investigate. And within that, I always recommend that people, after they've listened to barbershop performances, pick that song that intriguing to you, interesting to you, think would fit for your group, and do some research on the original performances. Who made this song famous?
Right.
How was it performed? In what setting? Um, and really understand the message behind it before you dig into the process of actually acquiring an arrangement in the barbershop style.
You know what I'd love to do? There are some that we've used in barbershop a lot, like "Oh How I Missed You Tonight." And if you just Google that, you could find 30 performances right off the bat of different recording artists that have made it their own. And it's pretty amazing what we can find out there in terms
Right.
of
Just
learning about the song.
need a little bit more context and framework to make that decision. And then it also helps you when you go to applying your performance skills to the chart.
Yeah, I always think of "Flirty Eyes," which is a song many of us know, and you have to be able to pull off that message about being very flirty. If you have more of a serious quartet, it doesn't matter that those chords ring really well because the character and the original intent that the way the song was written is not going to fit.
Right. And that's critically important for all four categories, not just music.
Right. For sure.
So once you have a feel and an idea for a song you want to pursue, there's several different ways. One is the one I already mentioned, which is go to see what's already been arranged and available through our website, through our marketing. And in addition, you can check in with arrangers to see if they have it on their private list, or you can ask for a custom chart. And the one thing you really have to understand is this is the most critical decision you can make. I'm sorry, Renee, it's more important than costume.
What? Now, wait a minute.
Buyers like costumes, a significant investment, financial.
Yes.
And, you know, many of us have had that experience if we've been around in quartets or choruses of being fully committed to a song, finding the arrangement of our favorite performers, and you know, digging up that arranger's information, getting it in our hot little hands,
And then it doesn't work.
realizing that it's totally wrong, and you've already paid the money.
Yeah.
So make sure you're budgeting up front, and you know that you realize it's going to be a significant investment. I often use the metaphor about, you know, buying a bathing suit when you're choosing a piece of music. No, first of all,
Oh.
I do it online, so I don't have to look in the mirror in advance.
Right.
But you want that garment that you've chosen to show you at your very best, not what you still need to work on.
Is there criteria written out somewhere about how to look at a piece of music? Somewhere we can find information that will help us do what you're talking about.
One of my favorite resources on the international website is the in the music education section. There are tons and tons of handouts from educational events in the past, and you can print them. Now obviously a handout doesn't have the engagement of the instructor explaining the detail, but there is a particularly good one that was done by Vicki the composer and arranger of How We Sang Today. And it really does kind of hit the high points of what to look at when you're looking at the music itself. It's called Difficulty Factors in Women's Barbershop Arrangements. It's very well written, and actually it's been, you know, passed around by educators throughout the organization for a long time. So I like it because it's succinct and full of data.
In the music category, is there ever an issue with us choosing an easy arrangement?
No, difficulty does not improve your score.
Okay.
Difficulty or challenges in music is exciting for performers at high skill levels. And we see our performers at the higher skill levels choosing those arrangements
Right.
and having success, which is very difficult to manage in our thought process. We see the success of the high scoring performers and we think it's a requirement to sing complex, difficult, challenging music. When the reality is, and I'm going to quote Johnny Vescos, she who rings the most wins.
Yep.
So you need to find a piece of music that allows you to ring chords and to communicate messages with emotion and sincerity and authenticity.
Right.
And so the bells and whistles are fun and they're entertaining to listen to, but they add a degree of difficulty to the 70% of the music category that is difficult to overcome for most performers. So the music category is weighted 30% for the song and arrangement and 70% for the performance of that
Right.
song and arrangement. And suitability fits into the 70%. That's where it impacts your ability to perform it. It's not the actual chart's fault. It's the concerns of the performer's skill level that cause the difficulty. So we're often asked, will this score well? And
Okay.
the answer is, I don't know for you. I can tell you what the history of scores are, and you can research that yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But each performer's score is determined by their ability to pull it off in live performance.
Right.
Those minutes on stage.
In the showmanship category, we have pitch pipe, and so we will address the pitch taking technique. And it's the only category where it's written out, but it impacts all four of them. And sometimes we get these barbershop myths that not taking a pitch shows that you're a higher level quartet. And what's so interesting is the group will start and all four judges will say something about the opening few chords not being totally in tune. So if we can just get rid of some of those myths, which that's one of them, or choosing really fancy, complicated arrangements is the only way to score well in the music category. We have to help. We all have to help each other make some better choices.
And music. What are the myths? You mentioned myth busting. So one of the myths is, the music judges don't like arrangements that are created by male arrangers. And that, honestly, I've heard it so many times, and it is just not true. But there are adaptations that are required to be made for female voices from arrangements that are created for male voices. So,
And where would I find somebody to help me do that if I purchased an arrangement that was a male arrangement that had been moved to a woman's key? Where do I find somebody to help me make those modifications?
Well, my default is always, unless it's, like one measure, you're going to flip some voices or you're going to revoice a chord in a tag. Anything beyond that needs to go back to the original arranger. Right. That is a piece of work that they've sweated and slaved over to, and it's a unit of art.
Yeah.
We need to respect that. So my first option is to go to the arranger. In fact, Scottsdale Chorus has had a very close relationship with Aaron Dale over the past 10 years. And he is completely willing to tailor his creations to enhance our performance ability on them. And we work side by side. There's a lot of back and forth. And I know you experience that internally in Melodiers and many choruses that work with arrangers in that. So don't be daunted by that. It's definitely something they would like to have input on.
We can approach an arranger to help us give us a tag that suits our voices, either chorus or quartet. If we don't have somebody on site that can do that, they can also help modify places where the range might not be exactly right. And also, I would just encourage newer quartets and newer chorus directors, if you don't know how to flip chords, there's so many people out there that will help. So reach out and get that help so that you can customize the arrangement for your group to have the most success.
And we do, as music judges, we get a lot of those questions. And if we're not arrangers or if we're not feeling comfortable with doing it, we know how to refer you to people who will. So feel free to reach out to the music category judges.
That's great. That's so wonderful to know that we have that resource. We can have contact with all of you so we don't get out there and do something that is really, not quite at our skill set yet. That's the most important thing.
Right. I would say that in my judging experience, most of our performers are choosing barbershop material. We're not hearing songs that don't belong in the genre.
No.
But we are hearing a lot of mismatches between skill levels, it's disappointing as you're listening, just because you know that performer is capable of ringing something,
Right.
and that is a little less challenging. And so, like Vicky's handout has a lot of specifics about that. There's another one, March Bailey authored, that is just a checklist, and it includes things like characterization and other components than just the dots on the page. But
And I know there's a lot of talk right now about barbershop arrangements, non-barbershop arrangements. What's your experience from all the years that you've been doing this for the skills that somebody learns from singing a really solid, contestable barbershop arrangement? Do those skills transfer over to other repertoire songs?
absolutely, and that's our experience as educators too. I mean, Lori Lightford, the director of Scottsdale, taught high school choir for years, and her kids all sang barbershop, and they couldn't wait to. And by the way, they love the classics.
They
It's
did.
the yelling sound of the ringing chords that draws them in, as opposed to pop repertoire. And yeah, I mean, we all want a nice mix of genres in our performance. We want to reach multiple audiences. We
Right.
want to reach our own selves and connect with the music of our generation. And those songs are out there arranged in 4-part harmony barbershop style, but they don't necessarily meet the contest qualifications.
There's so many foundational skills that we can learn that will transfer over if your group is doing some really contemporary stuff mixed into your repertoire.
Right. And then, along with that, we have to be sensitive, and when it comes to performance, about the differences between the genres. We
Yeah.
take our singing skill with us to those genres, but we have to be aware of, rhythmic and other components uh, that are built into a cappella charts. But
Right.
absolutely, Lori's kids understood interval accuracy
Oh,
in
yeah.
an amazing way. Their sight reading skills were amazing.
It's a great, great foundation for just learning to be an a cappella singer, I think.
Some of my favorite barbershop songs are the classics, the oldies but goodies. And another one of the myths that music judges want to bust is we get tired of hearing the same song. Uh, and the truth is that we can experience those classic songs over and over through your eyes, through your performance skills, through your heart and soul. And it's new again. So we want more music to come to the barbershop stage.
Absolutely.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with hearing those gems.
No. All right. So once we've chosen a song, we now know that we need to use the song assessment tool in order to figure out if a song is then appropriate for performance or competition, right?
That's correct. And I would actually recommend, now that the song tool is readily available, that it be a part of the process of choosing the music.
Right.
Then you've combined both efforts in one. Not only are you looking at a broader scope of the background of the song that you're choosing in advance,
Right.
and you've also done the process that's required as a part of the competition entry, and you've essentially met more than one goal.
Mhm.
So using the song assessment tool is really an amazing process. It just opens your eyes to the history of
And I
the music.
understand it. It has a lot of tools to help us do the research. It'll walk us through the research of a piece of music.
Absolutely. And there are great video tutorials that explain the process, and there's written resources that you can use.
Right.
And there's more coming, more education coming.
And then all of the results of each of the songs that are checked are going into a database that will be available to all of us.
It is available now. So we recommend that before you start the process, that you check the database to see if it's already, the research has been done. So we're helping one another in
Right.
the process, and that song bank is there for you to access as a part of your music choice search.
That's great. It must have been fascinating to work on that.
It really has been amazing. And working through how to research
Hmm.
and then finding out so many fascinating details about the history of the music that we sing, it's just been eye-opening.
The database could end up being a huge resource for all of us.
Well, that was the intent. Yes.
So you plug in a song, and if somebody's already done the research, you can find out all the background and all the pieces that have already been discovered about a piece of music.
Yeah, there are links in the document to uh, things like original sheet music copies, um, all of the sources online that were utilized to come to the conclusions. The thing I love most about that shared resource is that there are more yeses that populate the decision than there are nos.
Yes.
We are discovering songs that are not appropriate,
Mhm.
um, but at the same time, we're confirming and learning even more about music that's great for us to sing and perform.
So when you went to college, did you like music history classes?
Oh yeah, I love music history. So my friend Kathy Barnett and I, she's a former member of Scottsdale, but we went through some of our education together. And I used to help her with, music history and form and analysis. And she did all the theory. She was my theory tutor. So
That's great.
yeah, definitely a favorite. I love it. And I love to teach my students in the elementary school about music from around the world and, to learn about the multicultural impact of music in our lives. So
Well, we're also lucky that you were involved with the Diversity and Inclusivity Task Force on developing the course toolkit and helping out with this whole song assessment process so that we can all continue to learn. So thank you for all of that time I'm sure you have given to that project.
my pleasure. I care a lot about this organization. It's been a part of my entire life. And I want us to broaden our audiences and welcome even more singers.
Sounds like a good idea. I am all for it. We need more people to find out about us and what we do. So thank you so much, Jana, for coming and chatting with us today. We really appreciate it. And we hope to see you soon in person.
Let it happen sooner than later. In the meantime, hang in there, Zoom away, sing every day.
See you soon.
Thanks.
Bye bye.
Bye.